Hi, my name is Eliza Steinbach.
Hello, my name is Leiden Pride.
Hello, my name is Kay and I identify as non-binary trans.
I just know what I'm not. What I know is I'm not straight, but I identify as queer, gay, bisexual and yeah.
Nu 42 jaar weet ik dat ik lesbisch ben. Daarvoor wist ik dat niet.
Ja, de eerste persoon bij wie ik uit de kast kwam, dat was mijn eerste serieuze vriendinnetje.
The first person I came out to was my mentor in high school.
Ik denk dat dat mijn moeder was en misschien mijn allerbeste vriendin.
Before I came out to anyone, I had to come to terms with being gay myself, and that I had to do via coming out in The Sims.
It was not really coming out because we were just busted, I and the partner I had that time. And yes, when my mom asked, yeah, is it true? I said, yes, it's true. I think I'm different.
The first person I came out to was my best friend. I explained to her, I don't think the label woman fits me, but I'm afraid that if I refuse to use that label, my life is going to get so much more difficult.
Eigenlijk kwam ik bij mezelf terecht. Ik heb naar mezelf moeten kijken om te weten dat ik lesbisch was.
Everybody actually responded very positively. I had few negative experiences with coming out.
Overall, it was very positive. A lot of questions as well that I needed some time to also figure out how to answer, particularly about, well, what does this mean? Where will this lead? And so my answer was, I don't know. And that's going to have to be good enough for now.
My best friend told me, I think that you're going to be a lot happier if you can be yourself in the most authentic way. So then I told her that I identify as non-binary and I want to use they, them pronouns.
It made me feel weird at first because I was not used to being gay in real life.
You know, when you come out in a way and people are abusing you and condemning you, but then there's this group that comes to you desperately and say, yeah, I'm also like that man. I think, yeah, it's... So you feel relieved in a way, I could say.
I always thought that people would respond positively, but as long as you're never sure, there's always that little doubt in your mind, that voice at the back of your head that says, well, but what if?
I was almost certain that it would make my life a lot more difficult and coming out would be scary and hard and people wouldn't understand. But instead, I felt relieved and like I could finally be myself, and I instantly became a lot happier.
The dikes bursted open, I guess. And it was a freeing experience in my case. It just felt like all of a sudden, I just didn't need to care about what I say, about the way that I sit, about the way that I gesture, because I'm gay.
Toen ik uit mijn kast kwam en in de spiegel keek, want zo moet je het bijna zien, nou, toen was ik alleen maar dolgelukkig. En er vielen een heleboel puzzelstukken in elkaar.
Wat ik eigenlijk heel positief vond, was de reactie van mensen in het algemeen. Ik heb eigenlijk in mijn naaste omgeving, zowel bij vrienden, familie of kennissen, nooit een negatieve opmerking of negatief gevoel gekregen.
I got emails from colleagues and people had said, you know, this is great that I know this about you now and I know how to address you correctly. And I think for me that's a sign that it's worth taking the risk.
When I came out, I was thrown out of my parents' house and I had to live on the streets. I met many queer people on the streets who were surviving on nothing, but when they had my story, they welcomed me. I was like, wow, I met a family now.
After I came out to my parents, my parents told it to their parents, so my grandmothers. My mom came up to me and she said she had that conversation with my grandmother, and my grandma said that, oh, I'm very happy for him, and then I hope he's going to be really happy with whomever he finds.
I've actually had quite a lot of good coming out experiences, but the best one, in my opinion, was we were having some drinks with a lot of people from my student association, and I was talking to some guys about flirting with women, and they kept saying things like, oh, well, you should know because you're a woman. And at some point I got really sick of it and I said, well, guys, actually, I'm not a woman, so please stop calling me that. And then some other people overheard the conversation and they came over to help me explain what non-binary means and how to use my pronouns. And basically do all the explaining for me so I wouldn't have to. So that was really nice.
En dat ik gevoelsgenoten herkende. Dat is eigenlijk een soort coming-out. Dat was dus wel naar binnen toe, hè? Dus in de kring van de gelijkgezinden. Maar voor mij is dat heel belangrijk geweest om daarna ook naar buiten toe wat makkelijker erover te praten.
Het moeilijkste uit de kast komen vond, dat is de allereerste keer, bij mij was het de allereerste keer bij mijn vriendinnetje, dat je dan eigenlijk over je eigen schaamte heen moet stappen. Dat je iets moet delen waarvan ik toen nog het gevoel had af en toe dat ik me voor mezelf schaamde.
The feeling or the idea that it's not good enough if you're gay, or you won't be good enough ever if you're gay. And even though I knew that my family, my friends would never have a problem with it, hearing people use gay as like a derogatory term, as a slur, does instill this fear of coming out.
I had one friend who turned out to be quite transphobic, and he told me, I'm never going to use different pronouns for you unless you can give me a letter from your doctor saying that I have to, which is absolutely ridiculous, of course.
I lost my family. I lost my education because I was a private student at university and my parents couldn't pay my school fees anymore because, my mom said, why should we waste our money on a caste child? Yeah. So that was hard. And of course, losing your brothers and everybody that you have known for so many years since you were a child, because people think, he's gay, he's not part of us. Yeah, that was kind of hard, but it was hard then.
And do you have any advice for young LGBT plus people who are struggling with coming out?
The struggle is real.
Ik wou dat ik echt een goed advies had.
That is a very difficult question.
Het enige wat ik zelf in het algemeen zou zeggen, durf op een gegeven moment te houden van wie je voelt dat je kunt houden.
Ik zou zeggen, blijf er niet te lang mee rondlopen.
Coming out can seem really, really scary, and it's easy to see all the problems that you could be having, but don't forget that it's also very liberating to be able to live as yourself.
I've been into activism since 2007, and that has put me in a position of meeting many people, queer, many closeted. But I tell you that you owe it to yourself to be yourself.
I would say take your time, because you should tell the story about your gender or sexuality when you're ready for it, and not because others want you to tell that story. What helped me was the internet.
One thing I would love to say is that I think we just owe it to another generation. Because I believe that if the people before us had not taken steps of coming out, however hard the situations were, would not be having this discussion now.
Want to hear more coming out stories? Please visit leidenpride.nl.